Hi, good evening everyone. So this is a day 16 of the Gear Up Mains program. In this week, we will discuss the questions of polity and governance. I hope you are liking this program. In the initial week, we started with the ancient, medieval and culture. Then we covered the modern history as well as the geography. All the questions in this program are the PYQ question already asked by the UPSC CSE. So the main idea behind this program is to connect you with the main demand of the exam. What is the main demand of the exam? So you can clearly understand what is the requirement of the UPSC. Otherwise, it will become very difficult to understand what is the main core demand of the UPSC, how you can write a good answer, what can be the better presentation. Okay, so this is the requirement. Those who are new here, we are providing a question on daily basis from Monday to Friday at 10 or 10:30 in a Telegram group of Edukemy. You can join the Telegram group Shabir Ahmed Edukemy or the Gear Up Mains Answer Writing. And every Monday to Tuesday at 6 p.m. I will be live and discuss those questions. Those are in the group. A request to you, please try to write the answer and submit those answers to the Edukemy dashboard so we can evaluate those answers. Without evaluation, there is a I don't think कि उसका कोई फायदा होता है without evaluation. Please try to write and submit to us so we can evaluate your answer. And this program is completely free of cost. Anybody can join this program from going to the Edukemy site and join the main sport program for the Gear Up. Master program for the Gear Up, you can join there. Okay, so let's start with the question. The question of today was related to the polity. It was asked in the UPSC CSE 2022. The question is, the most significant achievement of modern law in India is the constitutionalization of environmental problems. Means the constitutionalization of environmental problems by the Supreme Court. Discuss this statement with the help of relevant case and law. A direct question. They are saying from starting of our independence to till now, the framework of the environmental problems by the Supreme Court is the significant achievement in India. So we need to discuss this question with reference to the judgment of the Supreme Court. So we will divide the question into three parts. One is the introduction, then we can move to the body part, and then the conclusion. So the main demand of the question is we need to write the different Supreme Court judgment related to the environment. Either it's related to the graded response action plan for Delhi, or the banning of the vehicle after the 10 years of use for a diesel and the 15 years for the petrol vehicles. Or it's about the Narmada Bachao Andolan, or it may be the polluter pay principle. The Supreme Court interference in also the Bhopal gas tragedy and the Delhi gas leak. Or it's also related to some of the other important judgment by the Supreme Court related to the environment. And this is the main core demand of the question. How it is the achievement of the modern law, the constitutionalization of the environmental problem, how time to time the Supreme Court is interfering in the law and help in the constitutionalization of the environmental problem. So we can start the answer with writing about the Supreme Court recent judgments. We can also write about, yes, Supreme Court is interfering in the law and its help in the framing the new constitutionalization environmental law which help in the preventing the environment. In the Constitution, the protection of environment under Article 21, the right to life, the right to clean environment. Then under directive principle of state policy, it is a duty of state to provide clean environment to its citizens. And it's also mentioned under the fundamental duty, Article 51A, where it's mentioned that it's a duty of the citizen to protect the environment. So you can also start the introduction with these. You can give the reference of the question and write these articles. Clear? So in the introduction part, we can start in a two-way. We can directly give the reference of the question. Yes, the Supreme Court interference in the environmental law, and time to time it helped in constitutionalization of the environmental problem. And the recent law related to the Delhi pollution may be related to the Graded Response Action Plan. It may be related to the Bhopal gas tragedy, or it may be the Narmada Bachao Andolan. Or in the another way, you can start with in the Indian Constitution, the environment. In the Indian Constitution, the environment is mentioned in the Article 21, the right to life, in the DPSP, and in the fundamental duties. आप यहाँ से भी start कर सकते हैं question को. Clear? Everybody, introduction is clear to you? Okay. Now, come to the body part. Here, the main demand of the question is we need to highlight the different Supreme Court judgment. We need to highlight the various Supreme Court judgment related to the environment. Before going to that part, we need to make a diagram. We need to make a flow chart of the constitutional reference of the environment. The constitutional reference means under which article the environment protection is mentioned in the Constitution. So there are 3-4 articles in the Constitution where the environmental reference are there. So you can make a smart art for it. Like I will show you the smart art. So you can make these kind of a smart art in the paper. So it will give you extra edge in the exam. So Article 21, the right to life, healthy environment. Healthy environment is the requirement for every individual. So you can make a smart art about the constitutional provision related to the environment. Then you can also mention about the Article 47, where the relation between the public health and the environment is described under the DPSP. Then the Article 48, the improve environment and the safeguard the forest is the duty of the union government. Then under the the fundamental duty to improve the natural environment is also the duty of the citizen. So these are the constitutional references related to environment. So you need to mention these before starting. After the introduction, you can mention these references of the Constitution. Or another way, you can write the reference from the fundamental right, Article 21. Reference from the directive principle of the state policy, Article 47, Article 48A. Reference from the fundamental duty, Article 51. Also, you can represent the art in this form also, where you are mentioning the fundamental right, you are mentioning the directive principle of state policy, and you are mentioning the fundamental duty. So, आप किसी भी तरीके से present कर सकते हैं, it's your choice. But you will mention it in the answer. Now come to the core part of the answer. The question is demanding we need to be list out the decision of the Supreme Court which help in the constitutionalization of the environmental problem. So we will list out the case by case, in which case what is the Supreme Court judgment related to the environment and how it's help in the constitutionalization. Clear? Okay. So here are some of the cases I listed down. So you can also list in this way. Whenever you are making your notes, please try to make it small in consolidated manner. So whenever you are preparing, when you are revising the context, you can easily remember the things and you can easily reproduce into the examination hall. Clear? So the first I listed here is the Graded Response Action Plan. Graded Response Action Plan, everybody know, during the time of October to February, the Delhi NCR specifically fight with the problem of the air pollution. Even some of the Supreme Court judgment, the Supreme Court mention about as Delhi NCR as a gas chamber, because the condition at the time, the ppm level is above 400 plus, and it's a very dangerous situation in Delhi. So the Supreme Court interfered in this and suggested to the government for a graded response action plan for a specific time period for the Delhi NCR region. So this was the interference of the Supreme Court for an environmental perspective. And here the environment is all about the protection of water, air and the forest land. Then the ban on firecrackers in the year 2020. In year 2020, Supreme Court banned the firecracker on Diwali, during Diwali. And the Supreme Court suggests that this government should ban the firecracker, and after the judgment of the Supreme Court, it's banned in the specific regions, specifically in Delhi NCR region. And then the Ganga pollution in the MC Mehta case, the very famous case, MC Mehta case in 1988. This is a very famous case in the case of environment. In the MC Mehta case, the Supreme Court lashed out on the local authority. Why? Because they are allowing the untreated water of the tannery into Ganga directly without the treatment. The Supreme Court ने कहा कि how you can allow the untreated water to the Ganga? Well, the people are drinking this water. This may be the cause of the health issue to the people. So, in the MC Mehta case, the Supreme Court specifically give direction to the local authority. So, after that, the treatment of the water started for the any of the drainage is going out to the rivers. Then again the Supreme Court intervention into the phasing out of the old vehicle. There is a guideline related to it. The petrol vehicle can be used up to the 15 years from the date of their purchasing, and the diesel vehicle can be used for the 10 years from the date of their purchasing, specifically in Delhi. Yes, it's the main demand SBAR. You need to mention about Supreme Court guidelines in the different cases. This is the main demand of the question. How the Supreme Court help in the constitutionalization of the environmental problem. You need to mention these in the answer. This is the main demand. You need to mention the Supreme Court guidelines. In the specific case, you will give the reference of the case, you will write the outcome of the case, but in the specific judgment of the SC about the issue. Clear? Okay. Then the right to clean air and the water. Then the right to clean air and the water in the case of the Subhash Kumar versus Bihar government. In this case, the Supreme Court highlighted the clean air and environmental requirement. So, but it will be more than required words. That's why I am saying you will write down the 5-6 cases, and you will also make a chart, a table chart. These are also cases which is related to the environmental problem which has constitutionalized by the Supreme Court. Okay. तो वर्ड लिमिट्स पे आप लोगों को प्रेजेंटेशन पे यू नीड टू बी फोकस ऑन द प्रेजेंटेशन देन इफ यू हैव द हाई कंटेंट, because during the exam time maybe you will not remember these 10 judgments. Out of these 10 you are remembering only 3, 4, 5. So there is no issue with the content. You can present in the form of the smart art. Okay. So in the right to clean air and the water in the Subhash Kumar versus Bihar government case, the Supreme Court highlighted that these are the fundamental rights. The right to clean air and the water is the fundamental rights. Specifically, if you remember the case of the demolition of the Twin Tower, the one of the factor behind the demolition was because it's hindering the right to life, right to fresh air, right to light of the residents of the society behind the Twin Tower. This was one of the reasons of the demolition of the Twin Tower in Noida. Then come to the polluter pay principle in the Velo citizen case versus the government of India. The Supreme Court judgment was saying कि if somebody is involved in the pollution, he or she should pay. Like for the Coke bottle, collection should be goes to the company. Any plastic manufacturer, the collection should be go to the company. Polluter pay principle. अगर आप किसी चीज को डैमेज करते हो तो आपको ही पे करना होगा, specifically to the environment. Then fundamental right to voter in the Narmada Bachao Andolan versus the Union of India case. In the Narmada Bachao Andolan, the Union of India case, the Supreme Court highlighted that the water is the fundamental right. The requirement of the fresh water is the fundamental right of every citizen of the country. So you can also mention this case. Environment and trade in the Bharucha versus the Excise Commissioner. There is specific guidelines related to the trade of the environmental products. Even it's related to the tree, even it's related to the specific kind of woods, even it's related to specific kind of animals. तो यहाँ पे भी Supreme Court का judgment specifically you can mention. Clear? Then we can also have a guidelines related to the compensation, specifically compensation to provided to the those who suffer from the context, those who have suffered from these tragedy, the Delhi gas leak and the Bhopal gas tragedy. In these tragedy, the Supreme Court judgment say that it's the responsibility of the government to provide the compensation, to provide a suitable environment to the sufferers from these incidents. So these are the 8-10 cases related to the environment where the Supreme Court provisions help in the constitutionalization of the environmental framework in the country. So you can mention these in a one form or a different form. You can explain the 3-4 cases and write the another cases in the form of the chart form, or you can write the 5-6 cases in the form of the written form. It's your choice. The presentation is completely yours. If you are presenting in the good form, then it will be very attractive to the examiner and he will provide the extra marks to you. Now, we left with the conclusion part. How we will conclude this question? In these kind of the question, we need to conclude to give the reference of the previous judgments. Yes, Supreme Court in the last 20-25 years intervening in the different environmental problems and also helping in the form of the formulation of the guidelines, formation of a law related to the environmental problems and help in the constitutionalization of the law. These are the recent incidents where the Supreme Court intervened. These kind of the conclusion will be suffice for the answer. So you need to be focused on the polity part, polity and constitutional part. Like this was a question asked in the GS2, so you have specifically attached to the Supreme Court cases and the Constitution article related to it. Clear? Okay. So this was done for today. Any doubt you people have, you can mention in the comment section. Again, it's my suggestion, please write the answer and submit to the portal so it can be evaluated. So before the exam, you can be evaluated where you are lacking, if you are lacking in the presentation or you are lacking in the content, that we can identify. Before closing this session, we start with our main support program on the 19th of June. Those who are giving this year mains, they can join, or those who are completed their general study courses, they can also join. In this program, we are discussing the various kind of the question. We are focusing on the PYQ pattern. We are providing the answers for the PYQ also. We are providing the practice test, so you can practice for more question you can practice, or for good quality question you can practice. So you can join if you are interested in the course. If you are interested in the course, you can join the GS Mains Support Program. Okay, so we will meet tomorrow at 6 p.m. with the new question related to the polity and the Constitution. Please try to write, अच्छे से लिखते रहें and keep evaluating yourself because you are accountable to you. Every student is accountable to himself. If you are improving on daily basis or not, this is your accountability to you. और अपने आप से बेहतर अकाउंटेबल कोई नहीं हो सकता है. Try to make Excel sheet, start tracking your preparation, start writing what covered, what left, what need to be covered and what is the main demand of the exam. Try to track yourself in an Excel sheet. So on the end of the day, you have a complete idea what you covered in the last 15-20 days or what you covered after 6 months. तो मोस्ट ऑफ द 90 आई कैन अश्योर कि 95% लोगों को यही नहीं पता होता कि उनको कितना कवर कर लिया, कितना बचा हुआ है. तो until and unless you are not tracking yourself, it's not good for you. Okay, so we will meet tomorrow at 6 p.m. We will discuss the new question from the Polity and Constitution. Thank you very much.